This video is part of a series of SSIS tutorial videos created by COZYROC. In this video, I will show you how to configure a package that loads the data from a ragged right flat file into a SQL Server table. This is the source data we'll be using. So it's a ragged right file. And what that means is that each of the columns, except for the last one, are actually a fixed width in length. And the last column, though, ends with the carriage return line feed. So it does not have a fixed width. As you can see there, each row has a different length for that column. So we'll close this, and the table that we're going to be writing the data into is this one, and you can see it's empty there, and there you can see the way it is configured. It has varchar 50 for each of the columns, and so that makes it non-Unicode. And now we're in Visual Studio, and I'll start by dragging the Dataflow task onto the canvas. I'll double click on it to go over to the Dataflow canvas, and I'll scroll down to the flat file source component, drag that onto the canvas. I'm going to be using this to read ragged right data from flat file. And then I'll double click on it to open the editor, and we need to set up a new connection manager, so I click on New here. And we'll browse for that file I just showed you. It's the automobile inventory RR for ragged right file. And then, so we have to change the format here to ragged right. And it asks for the header row delimiter. Every row ends with carriage return line feed. We'll leave that alone. And we'll leave the checkbox checked for column names in the first data row. And let's go look at the columns. So I'm going to change this to Courier New. It's a little bit smaller, and we'll take a look at the columns here. So we need to set up all the fixed width columns, and so I do that by clicking just under the ruler at the end of the column, which is right at the beginning of the next column. And so we did that for make and year, and now for color, and for miles, and retail price. And then, of course, the model column will end when it encounters a carriage return line feed. And I want to point out that carriage return line feed is used as the row delimiter. And now we'll go to Advanced, and I need to make some alterations here. So when you set up a fixed width column in a flat file, it sets the column name to be the same width as the data. That would make the name make and then a certain amount of white space to make it 11 characters long. And then when we go to map the columns, it won't map because it'll have the white space there, and of course the columns we want to map it to in the table will not have the white space there. So I'm removing it here, and so here you can see the column type is set up to fixed width, and the input column width is 11. Here on the year, I'm going to take out the white space, and there you can see this is fixed width 6 characters long. And color, take out the white space, and then you can see that's fixed width 9 characters long. Miles, took out the white space, and that's fixed width 7 characters. Retail price, there is no white space, and model is defined differently. So it's defined as column delimiter, carriage return line feed, and then the column type is delimited. We can leave the column width to 50 because we still won't have to worry about truncation since the column in the table is set up for 50 characters. And then I'll preview it. Just double check that everything looks like it's lined up the way we want it to be, and we'll close the connection manager. And I'm going to preview it from the component also. And there you can see everything still looks good from the components perspective. I'll close that, and we can close the editor for the source. Stay tuned to see how I complete the configuration of the package and execute it.
Do you need to sort large amounts of data that can't be sorted using the standard sort? How many times has the standard sort component failed you when sorting more than 2 gigabytes of data? With COZYROC's Sort Plus component, you can sort any amount of data and any number of records. It's free for testing and development and provides the same set of capabilities like the standard sort component, and yet it does so much more. It's not limited by the amount of available RAM, also can accept multiple inputs, and all processing is done in parallel using a configurable number of threads. COZYROC's Sort Plus provides optimal utilization of your server's resources, sorting very large amounts of data in a reasonable time. Download the Sort Plus component now. COZYROC SSIS Plus is free for testing and development within Visual Studio.
Now I'll drag the OLE DB Destination onto the canvas, and we'll be using this to write ragged write data to table. And I'll connect the blue arrow from the source to the destination, and I'll double click on the destination component to open the editor. And I need to set up a new connection manager, so I click on New, and I select the correct one from this list, and then I click OK, and then we need to choose the correct table. I'm going to be using the top one here, Automobile Inventory, and we'll view existing, make sure we're looking at the right table, and it is empty, so that's good. I'll close that. Now I click on Mappings, and everything gets mapped correctly. And I'll close that. I'm going to save the package, and then I right mouse click on the name of the package, and then I select Execute Package. And it completed successfully, so I'll stop debugging. And now we'll go over to Management Studio, and we'll see what we have in the table now. So there you can see all the data was copied over as it should have been. Everything's in the right column, and the right data is in each column. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to follow us on social media, here's how you can do that.